This is the Brian Callen Show. Hey, everybody. This is Brian Callen. And the podcasts that I'm posting are two podcasts. One was on Red Band a while back. It was my buddy Sam Brown, who was suffering from pancreatic cancer. And then I did a follow-up podcast with Sam. And unfortunately, June 13th, he died. He died of, he was getting better, and then that disease is so insidious. They don't have a cure for pancreatic cancer. It's just none of the chemo works, and he just broke down in a period of like 5 days. But this is, I wanted to put these up because he was the funniest guy, in some ways the funniest person I'd ever met. And he was funny to the end. You can see him just, it didn't matter. He knew he was going to die. He knew. The difference between most of us, we're all going to die, but he knew how he was going to die. And he knew that he was going to die soon, and it was hard for him, mainly because he had to say bye to his kids and his wife that he loved very much. So, but he went like a man, and he went like the comedian he was. And so I was proud to know him, and so I don't want to get I don't believe in being sad. I believe in celebrating somebody's life. And I think these two podcasts do exactly that. So I hope you enjoy these podcasts. And it was an honor to record them in the last months of his life. But listen to the courage and the grace and, more importantly, the humor that he used to deal with this impossible situation. And that's what I always say. There's always humor when everything else is, lost. So, hey, God bless. Okay, everybody, this is the Brian Callen podcast. I think there's
Glenn Beck.
This is Glenn Beck. That's my buddy Sam Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Brown, welcome to the Brian Callen Show. Sam Brown's one of my closest and oldest friends. I've known him for 20 years. He's also one of the funniest people I've ever met. And Sam recently came down with a little something called pancreatic cancer.
Hello, interested in the podcast now, everybody? I've got the worst kind of cancer imaginable, the deadliest kind. Try going on the internet after you get pancreatic cancer and reading that. Deadliest kind of cancer. 5% of the people survive after 5 years. I tried to call the survivors hotline to look for somebody with pancreatic cancer that was surviving. They gave me some guy named Dale in Minnesota who was like fucking ice fishing somewhere. It's not that hopeful.
All true. By the way, he's not joking. This is all true.
Right. Yeah. No, we're just using cancer as a way to kind of get on the air and make some ha-ha.
Exactly.
I don't have cancer. I have lupus of the face, everybody.
Sam Brown, you do. You have pancreatic cancer. And I remember you called me and said, I got some bad news, my friend. I have a tumor on my pancreas. I was like, okay. Now, you were killing me the other day because you were talking about some support groups you've been to and how insane this whole ride has been. We'll start with the nurse. There's a nurse who basically says...
You want to hear about the nurse? Okay, so basically, just so you know, everybody, I was diagnosed 3 months ago, I guess on like February 5th, and it had metastasized to my liver. It's grown in my liver. They don't think the chemo's working, so...
Good times!
It's very scary. I'm at a level of fear I've never been at, and it's causing me to act in kind of strange ways.
Fucking Cancer the Musical, dude! Cancer the Musical!
The musical!
It's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Chemo? A little chemo. Yes, darling. Oh, my wife just popped out in the middle of our podcast. Baby? Hello, darling.
Come on over. Yeah.
What do you... Okay, we'll come in a second.
Somebody's coming for a pizza.
Unprofessional.
It's all right. Somebody's here for a pizza. Now, tell us about the nurse.
Okay, let's talk about this nurse for a second. Basically, she's in the chemo ward. And one day after chemo, the chemo ward, by the way, which is creepy as hell, and like $1 billion goes into it. It's like they've got incredible art, beautiful lighting, and like, a fucking 100-pound Korean woman drooling down the side of her neck in a bed, and they give
only you can make cancer funny.
It's
dude.
Literally like I walk through the chemo ward and it's like the advent calendar of my future. I like walk by each room and they open a different December 12th. Look at you. You'll be covered in red dots, have no hair, and be bloated in your neck. It's fucking awful. Every person looks worse than the next. You're thinking, wow, this stuff is really doing wonders for all of these patients. It's literally rotting them. And
well, I'm looking at you right now, and you've lost your hair, dude.
I've lost my hair. I've lost about 15 pounds. Yeah. Thanks for bringing the fucking ha-ha down a little bit, Brian, because That just depressed me.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
Well,
about that. Back
okay,
to the
so
more
we're
bright.
getting in there.
Yeah,
Okay,
back
past
to
the chemo ward. Okay, so I go through the chemo ward, which in and of itself could kill you just in terms of the fucking feelings you have to go through to walk by everybody. It's just awful. You know, you see a mother coughing blood on their kid's face. It's really not what you want to be experiencing on a Tuesday afternoon. But
his computer's going
so
off.
Annoying. Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah,
what was I just talking about?
The
The bone pain nurse. I can't. This is the other thing. I have chemo brain, everybody. It used to be attention deficit disorder, which I used to call selfishness. Now it's chemo pain and chemo brain, chemo pain. I can't even get it out. See, I just proved it there. I said chemo pain. There's also chemo pain, which is another chapter of the podcast that will be coming up soon.
That's right. This is the first installment of the Cancer Chronicles, dude.
Just depending on how long I live, this thing could be, a fucking TV miniseries.
No
Seriously.
shit. This is what we're gonna do. And in my opinion, since you're one of my best friends, I'm not accepting the fact that you're gonna be around forever, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, Brian, for your false words of support. People struggle to find the right thing to say to you. They're like, people literally do not know what to say with somebody with cancer.
Yeah.
They come. I have people who come up to me and say things like, "Hey, nice to meet you. So sorry to hear that you're going to die soon." I have a friend doing a benefit for me who literally put on the benefit, "Please come support Sam Brown, who will not be with his family much longer."
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm not kidding.
Come on.
And
All
by
you got
the
is a
way,
fight.
when I'm dead and you're all listening to this podcast and it's like 3 weeks from now and you realize that Brian is just fucking trying to sell me a false bill of goods, don't take it out on him. Don't go listen to Joe Rogan's podcast over Brian. Listen to them both.
That's right.
Okay, back to Brian. Back to Brian.
Yeah. No, but so talk about the bone cancer fucking nurse. For God's sake, dude. Let's go. Jesus.
Oh, my God.
He's eating an apple right now. Spit the apple out and tell me the goddamn story.
I am mental. He's literally asking me for the same story
So go on.
for the last 3 minutes. That is how addled my brain is right now.
It's okay.
Okay, sorry. So I go up past the chemo ward and they have to give me an immunity shot every 2 weeks to boost my white blood cell count as they give me the chemo that's not working. Thanks. This is, by the way, you go through this shit, you want it to work. You want it to work at least a little bit. You go, I fucking, my fucking balls have shriveled up. I have chemo abs, no hair, and my
Chemo
wife.
abs.
I feel like, huh? Chemo abs.
Chemo
Oh yeah,
abs,
I got a
that's great.
6-pack of chemo abs.
Fantastic. Listen,
Yeah.
man, chemo's not all bad then.
My wife keeps telling me I look better than ever just because I'm not a fucking chunky fuck anymore. I'm like, thanks, honey. I'm glad chemo slimmed me down to the dream weight.
That's right, to Brian Callen weight.
The Brian Callen looks good in a Speedo, and he.
Dude, I'm a good-looking guy. Back to the bone nurse.
Bone nurse. Oh my God, this is literally beginning to come like an Abbott and Costello
Keep going.
bit.
I'm-
The bone nurse. All right, sorry, you literally have to hold up a card in front of me. Okay, so this is what happened. They give me the immunity shot. I walk in. There's this little Filipino nurse that walks in, and she's like, "Oh, how you doing today? I'm gonna give you immunity shot. What kind of cancer you have?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have pancreatic cancer." And she just goes, "Oh, I hear that very, very painful. Very painful. Oh, that's not good. Not good." I'm like, "Actually, I'm doing okay with it. I feel like not for long you do. It is bad. Bad.
Oh,
and
what
then
an
she
asshole.
and then she says to me, and this immunity shot that I'm giving you," she's like sticking it in my arm as we're talking. She's like, "A lot of bone pain. A lot of bone pain. Like needle through arm bone pain. Hurt a lot. It hurt a lot. Okay, good luck to you."
Dude, that's a very good Filipino accent, by the way.
By the way, I don't even know. I wasn't even
Cognizant.
of my Filipino accent ability. And I haven't offended anyone.
No, you're fantastic. Now, you got to give me, please, the story about, you touched on it a little bit about, I don't know if you want to talk about it, where you're basically had to go give a sperm sample.
Oh, the sperm sample. All right. We're going to tell the sperm sample after a pizza sample. We'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm going to pause this. We'll be right back, everybody. Hold on, let me pause it.
Oh, I got so many
We'll be right
stories.
back. He has to go eat, and we'll be back. We'll be back with more Cancer Chronicles from Sam Brown, ladies and gentlemen, on the Brian Callen Show, the only show that makes cancer, deadly cancer, fucking hilarious. And we're back We're back with Sam Brown. We just took a little pizza break.
Sam Brown was loading his weed pipe right now because
that's right.
When you have cancer, and especially pancreatic cancer, let me tell you how quickly you get a medical marijuana card. I had never even thought about getting a medical marijuana card, but circumstances have changed, and now I need one. And I went in there the other day, and she's like, "Are you in here for arthritis? Do you have sleep anxiety? What's your issue, sir?" And I'm like, "Pancreatic cancer." She's like, "Okay, here's your license right now. Please, your energy is too dark and sad for me. Please take this license and dull yourself and deaden yourself with the marijuana. And I will try to erase the image of your face because it's too painful for me. So, good luck to you. I have a bong under my desk."
See you later.
Yeah, see you later.
By the way, for those of you, I just want to give a little history to Sam. I met Sam almost 20 years ago in New York. Sam was and remains one of the best stand-up comics I've ever seen. I mean, he was a headliner when I was an open micer. And in fact, when I was doing open mics, you were headlining. And you would come in and close. And I remember watching you. And then you and me and Patty Jenkins, the director who wrote and directed the movie Monster, and she just won a Directors Guild Award for The Killing, the show, for direction. And she and I laughed harder that day when we were hanging out with you than I've ever laughed in my fucking life. You were killing us. And by the way, I'll freely admit this too. When I do stand-up, I steal a lot of Sam's bits. There, I said it.
Pretty soon I'm going to give you my whole act. I'm going to actually sell it to you bit by bit.
Oh, God, dude, I'll buy it, please.
Can you imagine?
You're not doing stand-up anymore anyway. You're right.
Can I just tell you something?
Yeah.
Seriously, I have so much material I would only fucking love you to perform. There will be a special Brian Callen inhabits the body of Sam Brown performance.
Dude, I'll do that in a heartbeat.
That would be so fucking
Your
weird.
jokes are so...
My ghost will be there.
You're one of those great writers, one of those kind of guys who I would always watch your crowd work and stuff, and you just drop shit when you're just hanging out. That's just... It kills me. It's like why I want to do this podcast. The other day, we're having dinner, and you're just talking about cancer, and I'm dying. I'm laughing my ass off.
We both were.
Hey!
We were both dying.
We both were, ladies and gentlemen. So do you want to tell the story about having to go, drop off a sperm sample and how fun that was that day?
Yeah. Okay. So, another one of my wonderfully uplifting cancer stories, everybody. About 3 weeks ago, I guess, my wife has had a fantasy. We have two beautiful children, Max, who's going to be 3 in a couple of weeks, and Leo, who is 4 months, and beautiful, beautiful baby boys that we both are super proud of. And my wife secretly is thinking maybe she wants another baby. So she wants me to go down to the sperm bank before chemo ruins my body, before I'm glowing. By the way, you're not allowed to have sex with your wife at least 2 days until after the chemo or the PET scan and all that stuff, because your sperm is literally radioactive. Like I could literally paint like fucking glow in the dark stars on the wall with my semen. It's fucking awful.
You mean after a PET scan even?
Well, wait a second. The way that came out, it came out like I'm saying there was actually liquid green stuff coming out of my penis, and there was not.
There was not. But it's radioactive either way.
It's radioactive, and it's weird.
Cool, actually. It's kind of cool. I can't bang you, honey. My junk is radioactive.
Right. Believe me, I think she's relieved. There's nothing hotter than going to bed with a cancer patient, by the way. Very, very sexy for the woman.
Your wife is one beautiful woman, man.
Sadness on top of how annoying you are as a person is really a great combination to get me turned on. As my wife said to me the other day, she's like, "Your weeping about your dying all morning is not helping me feel sexy."
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's because we were trying to make it happen, and she's like, "I need a little time to warm up. It's upsetting to me that all you ever talk about is dying." And I'm like, You're right. Show me your ass. You're right. Show it to me.
Tell me the fucking story about dropping off a sperm sample.
Is this going to happen again now 3 or 4 times when people are going to...
It doesn't matter. Your segues are awesome.
All right. Sorry. Wow, my ADD. Okay. So, sperm bank. Ilona wanted me
pizza right now, by the way.
Ilona wanted. I'm an animal. I'm like a fucking bald caveman.
Pizza's good for cancer. Keep going.
Pizza is not good for cancer.
Who cares?
But tonight I rewarded my inner self and said, "Hey, little Sammy wants a slice with hot cheese."
Exactly.
That is not what I said. I said, get back to the story that Brian's asking about, the sperm bank story.
That's right.
So, Ilona wanted me to put my sperm in a sperm bank. So I drive out to like Rancho Cucamonga, City of Industry. Like, I have no idea where I am. I walk up to this gross, dirty little parking lot, and there's like Mylar windows, basically like these dirty mirrored porn. It looked like they were shooting porn in this place, basically. And this woman came out with like 3 wisps of hair in her head who looked like she had much worse cancer than I did. And she didn't have cancer at all. I later found out she just had bad hair and did nothing about it. I mean, this is somebody that should be wearing a wig, a weave, or a hat, not walking around with fucking like half a ponytail's worth of hair fucking falling off the side of her awful looking head. So I'm just painting the picture as it really happened, everybody. Okay, so I walk in there. She immediately comes out and greets me, and she's like, welcome, Mr. Brown. We're looking forward to having you here, and please fill out these forms, and blah, 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 blah. And then she sees that I have pancreatic cancer, and she just goes off and gives me like the biggest pep talk in the world. And you just gotta believe. And I'm like, you obviously didn't believe in your hair growing back, or fucking having teeth that didn't have some sort of yellow paste on them. Okay, that's not nice.
You're just thinking nasty thoughts as she's
I'm weirded out by this lady, okay? So she says, okay, fill out these forms and then wait for me. So I go back outside and I get a call from my oncologist, which is always anxiety provoking. And I'm outside the sperm bank and my oncologist calls and he says, bad news. Which is not those are not the two words. Yeah, he's like, Sam, I've got bad news, and I'm like, okay, I just fucking shit blood, like I'm. That's about as scary a thing as you can have somebody say to you. And other than the radiologist who had tears in his eyes when he fucking looked at my scan, so
is that true?
Yeah, it's like that. A very good friend of ours runs an imaging place, and I got in the day they thought I might have a problem. And so they let me come in and see the scan. I said, you got to tell me if there's anything on there. She came out looking really upset. Then, I went in the room with them. They were both like teary-eyed. I'm like,
fuck.
Wow. And then I had to drive home alone. And really? I literally felt
and
like...
they told you basically right there that you had a tumor on your pancreas.
They said I had a growth on my pancreas. And from what they thought, having looked at a million of these things, it looked like a cancerous growth, and I just assumed that it was, and I was right, which is the important part of this story.
And I'm sorry, but when sorry to interrupt, but I remember when at first they opened you up, they came to you and said you have a rare form of pancreatic cancer, the kind that Stephen Jobs had. Yeah. Which has a much better prognosis.
A neuroendocrine tumor. Yeah.
It has a much better prognosis.
They came into my room, and if for some reason my doctors end up listening to this, I love you all. I think you're all incredible people. And have been blessed to be treated in your care, regardless of what happens. I really have met and seen some incredible people. Anybody out there, please don't ever complain again. If you were ever sitting in the cancer ward and watching children with no hair be wheeled by, we have nothing to complain about. Your health is really everything. I've really asked people to take something, my friends and family who are, obviously very, very upset, to take something from this, and to make sure that they take something positive from this, and that's how they keep me alive. Your
sense of a hero changes, doesn't it? I mean, I was talking about the notion that most of our heroes are people that kick ass. A lot of guys who watch MMA, Anderson Silva or Chael Sonnen or Nick Diaz or all these guys or a Marine or whoever it is who's a war hero. But your heroes change if you're the one who got your ass kicked. And when you're the one who got your ass kicked, you're not looking for Spider-Man, Conan, Nick Diaz, or anybody, but somebody in a white coat with soft hands who's got some answers to make you feel better.
Right.
That's what's interesting. Now we're looking for people who can heal and teach. And
there are a lot of great people out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just interesting and ironic that, we're so vulnerable as human beings, you know, in every single way, and that's what's so humbling, isn't it? I mean, it seems like this must be a very humbling moment for you, or time for you, you know.
It gives the word humbling isn't big enough. Leveling is more like it. It basically every single thing in my life has changed. There have been a lot of beautiful moments within all of this horror, you know, and I really, you do have to look hard. It's not easy, you know. I'm not saying that I'm like a monk with, you know, a world of gratitude.
Although you do look like one because
I
you're
do
bald.
look like a
Keep
monk
going.
right now. Chemo monk.
He's a chemo monk. Yeah. So
I'm nibbling on crust like a
So by the way,
rat.
I'm going to keep you on point. So crazy woman. Now you're in a sperm bank, and she's given you the deluxe suite, and now you have to basically give a sample.
Basically, I'm in the parking lot. My oncologist says, "Bad news, Sam." And then he says, your liver tumor has grown very quickly. It's 4 times the size that it was 3 weeks ago, and we got to get right on this. And then
That's a fun.
And then
That's a really
the
fun
creature
phone
with
call.
half a ponytail in her head opens the door, and she's like, "We're ready for you in, you know, room number 78, Mr. Brown." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like, I have to go jerk off into a styrofoam cup after my oncologist said bad news to me.
That doesn't make you horny,
Oh
man.
God! They give you a choice of 3 rooms. First of all, they had like PG, R, and X, and they're the 3 saddest, most disgusting, dirty. Like you think, oh, this is probably an antiseptic clean. No, it you know, if they had like a purple light bulb in the ceiling, I wouldn't have been surprised. It was gross.
And by the way, they're charging you $1,000 basically for this shit.
To keep my sperm, and so this is what happened. So I go, she says like PGRX. I looked over to X. I was like, "There's no way, fucking, I can just look at a bunch of awful porn after that. I'll stick with R." I thought, all right, I'll just look at.
Dude, I can't get off on R, but keep going.
I normally probably couldn't myself, but I just, there was something
X
so
is
sad
what-
about the X room in the sperm bank that it just looked
You mean triple X?
It looked soiled. It looked like there were stains they couldn't remove in that room.
Attractive.
Yeah, I don't like stains.
Ooh.
Okay, so let me get to the actual story, which I keep not doing, obviously. So they bring me into the R-rated room. I shut the door, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" My doctor just told me my fucking liver's exploding, and he had his whole tone changed with me. It went from, "You're the stallion that can beat this thing," to, "Okay, you know, my tone is now changing."
We're in a war.
Yeah, well, more like you're. And what it felt like is, this is the beginning of the end, buddy. This is not good.
Yeah.
So, but that's also me interpreting it, and
Well, these guys have seen a lot, and I don't know how they do their job. They're saving lives, but it's also very grim. I mean, a lot of the stuff. I mean, living in this sort of like fairly dark world where most of us don't want to deal with this. Some people are thrust into it. You have to deal with it, and they're the ones you're looking for answers on, right? I mean, what have you? Finish the story. I'm sorry, but
I didn't even realize that I hadn't.
Yes.
Okay, so I gotta finish the story. So basically, I'm in the sad R-rated room. It's also soiled and gross, and I'm sitting there holding my fucking penis, like trying. Actually, because I knew my wife cared, trying to actually get hard, and I have like tears streaming down my face as I'm slowly jerking off to like a fucking 4-year-old ripped penthouse.
Dude, sounds like a German, like a bad German, like indie film.
It was exactly like that. It was creepy and dark and sad. Somehow I managed to fucking ejaculate, if you could call it that, like one sad, not one, but a small clump hit the bottom of the cup, and I'm like looking down at this thing thinking, we're about to spend $1,000 to have this put in a laboratory. Do I want a fucking kid that came out of that sperm? And like the sad, right after my oncologist said bad news,
Kid's
and then
gonna
I
be
went,
born with a fucking frown.
how about the kid's gonna like shoot 50 people in a whatever.
That's so interesting. I wonder if it has anything to do with it. You're just the state you're in, the fucking lowest state of your life. You got to jerk off into a cup. You're trying to get it up. By the way, though, I'll tell you something. You are a stallion. The fact that even in when the doctor tells you you're dealing with a life-threatening illness and it just got worse, you were still able to get it up and fucking shoot. So congratulations,
Thank
Sam
you, my
Brown.
brother. Thank you,
Sam
my brother.
Brown. I mean, I'm very impressed. Most men have just like fall into it, but you kept it together. You were just in a little ball you were a weepy ball, and you still managed to fucking shoot.
Right, and then I try to come on to my wife. I'm like a weepy ball, and I'm taking 47 pills, and I have no hair, and I've lost 15 pounds, and I'm fucking walking around in pants that are too big, and I'm like, come on, you want to go in the bedroom and do it? She's like, well, I have some things to do, and I'm like, I just don't think of myself as being that sick. You know what I mean? I basically just don't. I see myself in my head like I'm still surprised I don't have hair when I walk by the mirror and stuff like that. It's, but
you are feeling pain, but you still feel fairly
nice
strong.
segue, Brian.
That's right.
Yes, I am feeling pain.
That's right.
But I'm on too much medication. Probably I take Percocet and Buspar for anxiety, and then a million sort of health products. I met a fantastic lady at UCLA named Mary Hardy, who's the head of integrative oncology there. Super lovely lady, just a great presence and a great love of people, and really sharing from her heart, and had done a lot of work and is a doctor. So she put together a nutritional plan for me. So she's a doctor and somebody that believes in healing. And
what was the nutritional...
if anybody is looking for somebody like that, I don't even know why, but she's awesome. You should know her name.
What was her? What is her thing on and philosophy on nutrition and cancer?
Well, I think it's specific to the kind of cancer.
Yeah.
But basically, she really believes that a lot of these supplements and nutritional things really do work. That basically because these giant corporations have the money to fund proper scientific testing by their standards, they make it very difficult for somebody trying to prove that vitamin D can cure cancer, and they have a 15th of the money to try to generate the.
You're taking a mushroom supplement too, right?
My Taki mushrooms, and I mean, that one I've heard is very good. I have no idea if they're working or not.
You're just taking them.
I'm just taking them, and I take black raspberry powder. She suggested for me, which supposedly has, I think, I'm probably getting this wrong, but I want to say ketones or something like that. It's got some anti-cancer agent in there.
Because
some
I remember
interesting stuff out there.
What you said to me was, it was interesting. I said, when you told me that you basically had the bad kind of pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
And you know what the mortality rates are. You said, I've just been fucking on the internet looking for a cure.
Yeah. That's one of the hard things is you can't help but be desperate. Mm-hmm. So you're literally reading every single thing. Like somebody suggests that you make a sun tea from your own urine, and you're like, well, that does make sense. It's very nutrient dense. It is re-drinking myself. There must be something in there that, you could make yourself insane, like trying...
And all the opinions out there.
I went to the medical marijuana store, and the kid behind the counter was like, grabbed me by the throat because his sister had died of cancer. And he's like, dude, you need to go online and watch this. And it was basically about cannabinoids and how they're actually doing real research at real universities and stuff on the possibility that like hemp oil and cannabinoids, not actual pot, but the whatever that is,
the derivative compound of the leaf.
That sounded good, and I'm going to say yes. Yes, the derivative compound of the leaf.
This is Brian Callen Show, and we're talking about this is also a science show at the same time.
Derivative.
That's right.
Leaves.
Yeah, so he said he grabbed you. Everybody's got a cure. Everybody wants to help you. Everybody's coming up with ideas. The human beings
they're desperate to help you, and it's very beautiful and very touching. I'll tell you I'll tell you one of the positive things about this is definitely you really see the best and worst, but you definitely see the best of humanity. You definitely see people's best, and you definitely, for me anyways, I shouldn't say this for everybody. I have had the opportunity to really see the best in people, and I feel so loved and supported and taken care of most of the time, and I freak out, if I'm alone for too long or whatever. I have been needy and mental, and the chemo makes you wacky, and it's quite a journey. They don't tell you like you're but there's no way you could really know. It's like having a child. You just can't know what this is like until you go through it, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah, it's an experience. It's something you have to just experience. You're kind of living in a catastrophe, right? I mean, it's a catastrophe in some ways.
It feels biblical, and then the other thing is my best and oldest friend, Mark Lane, was killed in a motorboat accident about 1 week into my chemo. Yeah, this is somebody that I literally has been my best friend since we were 2 years old. So I'm on chemo and crying hysterically for weeks about my best friend and like talking to him at night.
Well, I remember calling you. I texted you and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And you go, "My best and oldest friend was just killed in a boating accident this weekend."
Hit by a motorboat in the
Like
church.
I was like,
yeah.
"What the fuck?" I'm like, "How do I respond to that?"
I know.
And then you said some really funny stuff just because you were just. What else are you going to do in that situation? You're kind of living in the book of Job. For those of you young guys, haven't read the book of Job, you'll get that reference.
I literally must have whipped Harriet Tubman in a past life. Like I don't know what the fuck I must have been like Joseph Mengele or something.
Well,
like
no,
that.
because you spoke to a rabbi about this, and he had some Kabbalist kind of guy who had some interesting things to say.
Our rabbi who married us, super bright, super interesting guy, Rabbi Finley. And he shared a lot of amazing stuff with me, but...
Which was what? What he's counseled a lot of people.
Basically, what he said is don't look for meaning in the death of your friend of a motorboat or the fact that you have pancreatic cancer right now. He says, this is not involving God. This is not... he basically said that we're in the lower realm and that the upper realm basically doesn't intercede that much. They're sort of separate places. And there's some crossover, but not a lot. So we're here as souls trying to sort of learn and grow.
So the idea then now is to face your suffering with dignity, and
continue to grow as a soul and as a person. Continue to make apologies. Continue to be loving where you haven't been able to. Continue to try to like fucking find some way to laugh and have some fun,
Were you religious? Are you religious? I mean,
well, my dad was religious, and he died of cancer when I was young. And so that's the other thing is this has literally been my biggest fear my whole life, and thought about it probably every day, and then got it. So if you believe that people create that kind of thing, I'm not sure that I do anymore, but I certainly believe in the power of thoughts, and yeah. Let's get a little. Let's get back to the funny. My wife's going to be listening to this and be like, "What happened? They were having a good time."
But it doesn't have to be funny. It's interesting because it's actually I think very interesting, and I don't think of it as sad. I don't think of you as a sad person. I mean, you're facing this with such sort of dignity, and you're facing it with such courage. And you're facing it with a lot of fucking humor, dude. I mean, and that's what's
what
interesting.
I have.
That's what you have.
I mean, if you hear other cancer patients or survivors or people say, like, they're not going to let cancer get them,
Yeah.
And, just because cancer takes your body, I mean, the truth of it is when you're sitting in my position that you start to believe or look harder for things like a soul. When I pick up my son Leo, who's now 4 months old, and he smiles bigger than he's the smiliest baby
I've never seen anything like it. That kid smiles. I've never seen anything
like
it.
Max is a super happy, smiley, beautiful little boy, and then Leo is just exactly like Max. And they're amazing. And I forgot what I was going to say about them.
Well, you're talking about like looking for a soul and things like that. I mean,
when I look into their eyes, I feel like I can see a soul. They're so pure and they are so vulnerable that.
You've been to some support groups, and you met some colorful characters.
Yeah, I'll say. I don't want to rag on the support group. Brian's trying to. I ragged on the support group that I went to.
It wasn't ragging. It was just funny.
These people are all fighting pancreatic cancer, but now you want me to go off.
Or are they all? Oh, so you've gone to support groups where everybody's got pancreatic cancer.
I walked into the support group for pancreatic cancer. There were like 5 people. One of them was like a 75-year-old lady who was in a terry cloth helmet and robe, and had like no eyebrows and was in like mental hospital slippers. I didn't even know where she came from because we weren't in a hospital. Like somebody must have dropped her off or something. And then some very nice, basically normal people. But you walk into the cancer support group and it's just bleak. I mean, and there's a lot of laughs, but it's just dark and weird. This lady's like, I'm on my... She was Norwegian and like 75, and she's like, I'm on my 30... I've got to cut it.
But I was going to say, it sounds like the Filipino woman, but keep going.
Too much like the Filipino woman.
No, listen, Norway and Philippines, very, very close.
Fjords. Oh, I've had 36 different kinds of chemo, and I don't care. My doctor gave me 2 weeks off this summer. I'm going to the fjords in Norway. Cancer, 36 treatments. It's a lot. I shit blood. And,
dude, you're disappearing. Is that Sam or is that the Norwegian woman? You're so good with character.
She's got like a pan flute of tubes coming out of her neck going into a fucking IV pole behind her.
Oh, that's a good time.
Yeah.
And that's a good time. Is that from the chemo? Are they giving her chemo? You don't know.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of people carry, well, not like that, but a lot of people have like Buck Rogers chemo packs.
Do you know why? Do you know why, from your experience, why some cancers are more deadly than others? And what is cancer? I mean, have you talked to your doctor about that? Is it a very
Brian, don't test me here. Like I should know something about this. You become like a CSI team member when something like this happens. You start doing research like your life depends on it.
Yep.
And it's just amazing how much you can fucking stay on the internet and read banana stuff.
Yeah.
That wasn't a setup.
No, but I mean, have you learned? I mean, I guess the more you learn about pancreatic cancer, it's not necessarily. It's a little bleak at times, but it seems like cancer is an umbrella term for different kinds of diseases, right?
No cancer is the same. It's like a snowflake. They are guessing and doing their best to figure everything out. And unfortunately, one thing that you do find out is that cancer. I think like 1 out of 16 people got cancer in 1900, and now, and please, don't take this as medical information. I could be off, but ballpark, 50% are going to get cancer at some point.
Part of it's because people are living longer. And they get it
a lot of
later years.
Yeah, and I wasn't even going to say really in terms of how many people are getting cancer or dying from it, but like in my particular cancer, they really haven't improved the mortality rates in pancreatic cancer in about 30 years. It's the deadliest form of cancer, and you should, if you like to give money to the American Cancer Society, earmark some of it towards pancreatic cancer, or if you like to give money to any of those places. Please, not only...
Do they need money, those places?
Oh, yeah. They're
need underfunded.
Pancreatic cancer is underfunded, considering how deadly it is and how little progress. Yeah. They feel like they're making progress, but it's like, for them, progress is extending your life 60 days. Yeah. It's like Resveratrol will, give you an extra 48 days.
Is that right?
Yeah, every one of these chemos, by the way, sounds like a Klingon, something from the world of Star Trek. They're like, Gemzar, Abraxane. Like I'm supposed to buy a doll that comes with the chemo or something. You find out who your real friends are, by the way, when you're in the hospital and fucking crap the floor in front of them. Yeah. I literally shit the floor in front of my best... He was behind me, like my best friend, the one that got hit by a motorboat.
Oh, great.
And he saw a catheter being pulled out of my penis and was doubled over laughing as I was like twitching and shrieking like a man on fire. I mean, I was like, it was just an. And by the way, they kept pulling and pulling and pulling that thing. I thought, it's probably 8-10 inch catheter. It can't go too deep.
I'm literally rubbing my hands together.
It was like a magic trick. It kept coming and coming. I fucking was looking for like clowns to like put it in a hat or something.
And now ribbons.
It was.
And now doves.
Awful.
Hey, doves flew out of my dick. Yeah, that's crazy.
It was. That part of it was not good. So let's see. All right. So you find out who your real friends are. We just spoke about that.
I'm gonna let you just take the lead here. Because this is, to me, it's fascinating.
People don't really know how to... here's some advice if you are listening and you're listening for whatever reason, but you have people in your life who have cancer or you have cancer, and you're thinking about sort of how to be there for them. Just be yourself, you know what I mean? People get so nervous and, for For me, it's just I don't have a problem with people crying in front of me or being upset or doing their thing. It's like just be yourself around somebody with cancer. That's all that people really want. And
also
I had a friend come over recently, and she literally gave me like a 10-minute hug before she left, because she's looking at me and she's upset, and she's like, "I love you, Sammy," and I'm literally standing in the kitchen. I'm like, I'm right here. I'm still here, and this is like a 7-minute hug now, and this is weird.
Yeah.
Lovely girl. But
I would say that it seems to me when you're dealing with this kind of an illness, you have to manage a lot of other people's energy as well. That's why when I'm around you, I'm only interested in trying to make you laugh and fucking having a laugh and being a silly goose, man. I don't want to get all heavy and deep, because you and I have always had a laugh. We've always been playmates. Every time I think about you, it's always you're just one of the funniest people I've ever met. And for me,
first of all, let me cut in right there. Brian is the funniest guy I've ever met. This is a mutual admiration society. I go watch him like the old man with the cancer scar in the crowd, and I watch him tear it up, and it could not be any funnier. He's had a huge career, and
coming from you, my friend.
But I thought his career was going to be bigger. Let me just say that.
That's right.
I thought Brian was Jim Carrey. I literally thought he was the funniest guy I fucking ever met, and we had a man comedy crush on one another. We would roll around in each other's
comedy glee. Our giggle juice.
That sounded a little gay.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? When you have cancer, you can sound gay.
I got a funny story for you. Okay, this is a good podcast story. Well, maybe we'll edit this thing down. I don't know.
No,
you got to hear this story. Okay, so this whole thing starts off, by the way, with surgery. After they find the tumor and everything, they decide to take out 40% of my pancreas, 6 inches of my colon, a tumor from my liver, and my entire spleen.
Small surgery.
And they left 4 small tumors in, which became big tumors in my liver. But
why did they leave the 4 fucking tumors?
Basically, I think it was just too much surgery at that point for one body. They were just cutting too many organs, and it's such a lot of. I think at a certain point the risk level goes up, and they're just like, they want to find out also if the chemo is going to work. So if the tumors are teeny like that, they're thinking, we're going to blast him with chemo anyways. Let's see if this shit's working. That's one of the weird things. You can have blood work done, and it can tell you nothing. I mean, my tumor markers and all of the blood markers for all this stuff, they thought I was like an Olympic athlete. When they looked at my blood, they were like, "You're incredibly healthy," and the truth was I had a giant tumor inside of me. So the other major thing that I'm saying any chance I get is, one, make screenings available to people. Find a way to make them affordable so that people can get full body screens done. And if you can afford it, and even if you can't afford it, I think it's important to find a way to get a body scan done of some sort. If you find this stuff early, if you are not living in fear like I was and afraid to go to the doctor, that's not what happened in my case. But I certainly was plenty afraid to go get tested for things for many, many years. Get over your fear, because it could save your life, So, hey, all right, bringing it down.
Oh, look, the music
people
comes back.
People are literally driving off the road listening to this podcast right now.
This is actually the Cancel the Musical with, like, dialogue in between.
Oh, wait a second. I had this fucking story.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. So, this is the story, and this is what happened. So, I start off with major surgery. They take all that stuff out. And the morning of surgery, they're prepping me. I'm in, like, the little surgery pre-area. And we have a really nice nurse. He's a black man as our nurse, and he was totally cool. And my sister was there, and I was obviously there, and my brother was there, and a friend of mine, Gino, I think, was there. We were all hanging out, and Mark, I think, was there maybe. And my sister says to me, "Sammy, are you ready?" And the black guy was like, "What? What'd you say?" She was obviously talking to me, as my name is Sammy, but the black nurse thought that she was literally calling him like Sambo or something like that. No. And we were like, "Oh my God, no, it's me, the one with the tubes in my face." I'm like, we felt awful. He got that obviously my name was Sammy. But that
What
wasn't.
do you think it was?
I should have known then that
Come
the
on,
tumor
man.
was going to grow, because that was a odd start to the whole to the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so go on.
You know what's really great in an argument? Blame somebody for giving you cancer.
Have you done that yet?
I've done it before I got cancer.
Oh, you did?
I've said to people, "You're giving me, or this person is giving me cancer." Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. But
Yeah.
you've always been the most inappropriate motherfucker on the planet anyway. You've always been the most off color, but in such a funny way. I mean, you don't have a mean bone in your body as far as that's concerned. But you are the funniest fucking dude with that kind of stuff. Just saying crazy shit that was always funny, especially with your stand up.
Brian Callen is the one with the podcast. Everybody. I'm a weird old friend with cancer who he's putting
Crazy
on the
talk.
show.
That's crazy talk. I won't have that talk on my podcast, Sam. You're outstanding, Sam.
wait.
By the way, in short commercial break, the X-Flex, you go to xflexstand.com. Do you know what? Have you seen these things? These X-Flex, these E-Flexes?
E-Flex or X-Flex?
It's actually an X-Flex, and it's this awesome thing that holds your fucking computer up, like
Your what?
iPad up, or your iPhone up.
So
But
it's a
you can,
stand
like,
for it's a
you can
stand for
wedge
your
it
computer.
between, like cushions
have
in
one.
your car. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
my buddy invented that.
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
like you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, duh. That's a lot of
like,
people
yeah.
are going to use that.
Yeah, he's selling a lot. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, keep going.
Let's talk
like
about
a commercial
stands
break.
for computers. Did that keep you guys listening, or is that when you went to your
That was a
old
little
Dylan favorite?
commercial break. Now, Jamin, give me my money.
I have been also very, very blessed to have unbelievable people reach out to me, like the people from Stand Up to Cancer, and the Hirschberg Foundation, and I've met some incredible people, and they've hooked me up with some of the top pancreatic doctors in the world. And one of the guys who I spoke to invented my chemo and has a very German name, like Von Klapp or something like that. I won't say his actual name, but let's just say it's extremely German.
Yeah.
And then he starts asking me on the phone in his German accent, "Oh, well, so you're telling me you're an Ashkenazi Jew?" And I'm like, oh my God, this guy is picking my chemo.
Based on your ethnicity.
Yeah, and he's like, "I have the perfect cocktail for you, Mr. Brown. First, you will feel nothing. Then your eyes will slowly roll back into your head." Okay, I don't even know.
Because you are a Mongol. That's very funny, because, by the way,
I
Ashkenazi...
will wipe you out.
An Ashkenazi Jew is a Jew of European heritage, like usually from Russia
Eastern
or
European.
Poland, Eastern
Yeah,
European. Whereas a Sephardic Jew is somebody from the Middle East.
like Spain.
Spain, that's right.
Spain and...
darker, more Semitic features.
Yes, I'm more Sephardic looking, although I am Ashkenazi. I have a nice blend of
By the way,
Jewishness.
Ashkenazi Jews have their own types of cancers, too, from what I understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
What this amazing doctor actually told me is that Ashkenazi Jews have a defective gene called BRCA1 or BRCA2, and basically, if you have that gene, you are, you're at higher risk for developing certain types of cancer, and I think pancreatic was one of them. And so, basically, I'm trying to figure out how I got cancer, what I can do to beat this thing, any piece of the puzzle. And I would never have thought that, being of a certain descent. But of course, that stuff happens. I just didn't.
Well,
think of it.
the medicine is learning about how to manipulate your genes, change your genes. You do your genome in 20 years or 10 years or 5 years or whatever it is. They may very well be. They'll look at your genome and then they'll go, "Well, we're gonna scramble your genetic code. We're gonna change your genetic code."
They're doing that. They're doing gene therapy now, like in China. That's when you start looking for the Hail Mary pass, like what am I going to do if situation, and in China they're smart. They've cut out a new market for themselves that basically because the the regulation here is so tight. that it takes forever to get some of these drugs
Well,
through.
the FDA takes a long time.
Takes a long
to get a
time.
drug through.
And so these people who are involved with gene therapy went to China and they like set up all this stuff. And if you believe what you read, they're having like amazing success with gene therapy and cancer. But it's also $200,000 and like it's like they literally can bankrupt your family. That there's no insurance to go to China and get gene therapy.
You need cash.
You need cash, and you pay right away.
Yeah. There's no deferred plan.
Yeah.
It's for the rich, the very rich.
So those are the kind of conversations I'm having. Basically, just sort of what's next. You need to map this stuff out in advance, just in case. It's obviously
you're in the fight of your life.
I'm in the fight of my life.
This is fucking. This is no joke. I think this has been a phenomenal podcast, and we're gonna. This is only volume 1, ladies and gentlemen, on the Brian Callen Show, where we make not only cancer not only funny but musical as well, ladies and gentlemen. So the great Sam Brown will return. And,
actually, he died a minute ago.
Yeah, he just passed away. He passed away about 2 minutes ago. We're really sad. But
he made it till the end of the podcast.
Dude, make your goddamn material available so I can steal it.
I'm not. You're not going to have to steal it. I'm going to give it to you in a loose leaf binder.
Good, because you're a genius. You're a genius. Can they go to a website and see some of your funny stuff?
I guess SamBrownComedy.com if you want to go and see some of my older stuff. I don't do as well. I have some newer stuff on there. Actually, I have some newer stuff on there,
okay,
but basically, I haven't toured around in a long time.
Go to SamBrownComedy.com.
He's trying to sell me. I'm trying to undo it.
You're funny.
What
dude.
a loser.
You're fucking funny. You're one of the best.
What about you? If they want to see Brian Callen, it's BrianCallen.com.
Whatever. Who cares?
BrianCallen.com. And it's BRYAN. That
right.
may be the reason you keep getting
that's exactly right.
the other Brian Callen.
the Brian with a Y. All right, folks. This has been a podcast with Brian Callen. Good night, Sam Brown. Thank you. You're the best.
Much love to you, Brian. And thanks for listening, everybody.